Hi there crafters, Louise with you today. Thanks for checking out this video. It is the next video in the series featuring the Vicky Boot and Flower Emporium. Now I've seen a lot going around online about keeping your children safe and how to not necessarily share important information. So this particular photo you'll see has some little white strips across it. That's purely just crossing out the kids' schools and, making sure that I'm sort of trying to be a little bit safer online. So that will come off when it goes into my album, but if you're wondering what that's all about, that is the reason. Now, I loved this background paper. So the butterflies, I think, were super sweet, and I do like a good dark coloured background. I think it challenges your creativity in a slightly different way and makes you think about what you're putting on the layout just a little bit differently. Having now covered up and put those little strips on there, I obviously know I need to get them off later on, so it's quite a challenge trying to create around this without actually sticking anything down. So you'll see that little piece of pink, that's just a little stash piece, and that's to give me a base to work on so that I've sort of got something to attach to. And the reason for that is because I don't necessarily like to have my cluster stuck down until I know I'm completely finished tucking things in the back. So often I will audition sort of elements and different layers, particularly pattern papers, and try to decide what's actually going to make it onto the cluster before I decide to stick it down. So in this case, I'm trying to be just a little bit careful about getting different elements in place without having them completely stuck down. All right, so essentially I had picked this photo, and other than that, I have no plans for this. I knew I wanted to use this background paper because it was quite pretty, and I sort of thought, how am I going to kind of highlight those butterflies? Am I going to make this a little bit of a feature? And there are lots of die-cut butterflies. There's some vellum butterflies. There's a few extra little bits and pieces. There's some with foil. So yeah, really fun to pull out some butterflies. And I also later on actually go around those butterflies off camera with some sparkly paste, some glitter paste. The one that I use, pardon me, it's the Art by Marlene, and it's a pack that has like a black glitter, a silver glitter, a clear glitter, a silver, a silver liquid as well. So certainly, off camera you'll see, and later on, that I've added that little bit of something extra. One of my favourite things about this particular collection are these text papers. I think they just work so well, and you can see that I've just taken a little piece of that, torn part of it, and tucked it at the bottom section of my layout, but it makes such a difference. It really is interesting how much just a little bit of a text paper in a sort of an off-white can help with those layers. All right, I'm having a few little thoughts about this, the little love circle, what I'm going to do with that. So I initially thought about pulling out some embroidery thread or some twine, but I was looking through a box of textural elements, and I found a piece of sort of really thin leather cord, and I thought about wrapping it around, but you'll see as the layout comes together that I actually just sort of tie it into that little love circular element and actually sort of make some circles and a bit of a feature out of that leather piece of twine. So really, I had lots of fun with this. It challenged my creativity because, I didn't have to think too much about what mixed media I was putting behind my photo or my cluster. So it's a little bit different for me in terms of adding those butterflies. and then having that cluster in that right hand side that kind of just fills up that unused space. And the butterflies, when I pop them onto my cluster, you'll see I just sort of fold them a little bit, and I only glue them down in that middle section. So obviously in an album they will flatten out a little bit, but while I'm creating, I like the texture that they provide, just sitting up a little bit higher. If you wanted to put foam mounting squares behind them, that would add dimension as well, but once an album goes in the layout, I'm not too concerned with how it's going to actually look. Now, the titling of this page was really hard because I had the 24 as the number, but this little highlights piece was quite cute, and I thought that it was very appropriate because this is my kids and their graduation from school. From primary school, they've moved on to high school this year, and that's sort of how that came to make it onto that particular layout. Now, getting this leather twine to stay glued down was quite the challenge, so I put something heavy on it and just left it overnight, came back to it the next morning and put everything together and finished the layout off. So that's for you to have a look at. You can see that little swirl. I really like how that sort of glitter looks up the top of the layout around those butterflies, and that's my share for today. Thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoyed, and as always, comments are always welcome.